Have you ever made a money choice that, looking back, made absolutely no sense? Maybe you panic sold a stock or bought something you definitely couldn't afford. Well, if you have, you are not alone. And the reason why is probably not what you think.
See, we're all taught to think about money like it's a math problem. It's all about charts, formulas, spreadsheets, this world of cold, hard, rational numbers. You just plug in the data and you get the right answer. Simple, right?
Well, that's not the whole story. It's not even close, actually. Doing well with money has very little to do with how smart you are and a whole lot to do with how you behave. It's a soft skill where what's going on in your head matters way more than what's in some textbook. It's all about the stories you tell yourself, the biases you don't even know you have, and your own unique behaviors.
To really wrap your head around this, think about scale for a second. Your personal experience with money, all the ups and downs you've personally lived through, makes up maybe 0.0000001% of everything that's happened in the financial world. It's a tiny, almost non-existent fraction. And yet, for most of us, that one microscopic sliver of experience accounts for something like 80% of how we think the entire world works. We take our very limited view and we just project it onto everything, and that shapes our whole financial outlook. So how do we start to overcome this? Well, our first big idea is a concept that kind of flips conventional wisdom on its head. It's called tails you win.
I know, this sounds completely backwards, but it's one of the most powerful forces in finance. The idea that you can be wrong, you can fail, you can make bad decisions over and over again, and still end up incredibly wealthy. So, how on earth is that possible? It's all because of something called long tails. See, most of what happens is just noise. Little failures, small setbacks. But every now and then, you get what's called a tail event. One single, massive win that is so powerful, it wipes out all the losses combined and then some. And you see this everywhere. Amazon lost a fortune on the Fire phone, remember that? But it was just a tiny blip compared to the mind-blowing success of Amazon Web Services. A venture capital firm can watch dozens of its companies go to zero because the one that becomes a unicorn pays for all the rest many times over. The game isn't about being right all the time. It's about making sure your wins are absolutely huge when you are right. Okay, so if just a few big wins are driving all the results, then the most important thing is just staying in the game long enough for them to happen. This is the art of survival. And this brings us to a really key distinction. Getting wealthy and staying wealthy are two completely different skills. Getting rich, that often requires taking big risks, being optimistic, being bold. But staying rich, that requires the total opposite. It requires humility, fear, and a little bit of paranoia that it can all be taken away just as fast as it came. Legendary investor Jesse Livermore learned this lesson the hard way. He made and lost several fortunes back in the day. After one spectacular crash, he said, "I sometimes think that no price is too high for a speculator to pay to learn that which will keep him from getting the swelled head." He knew that overconfidence was an expensive disease. Survival is truly everything. But surviving means we have to navigate our own psychology, especially this really powerful bias that works against us long term. Let's call it the pessimism trap. For whatever reason, we humans are just seduced by pessimism. It sounds smarter, right? It feels more plausible, more intellectually honest than optimism, which can often come across as naive or like a sales pitch. Just think about it. If someone comes up to you and says they've found a stock that's guaranteed to go up 10 times, your internal alarm bells start ringing. It sounds like they're trying to sell you something. You'll probably just dismiss them. But what if someone pulls you aside and warns you that your investments are about to collapse? You listen. You give them your undivided attention. Why is that? Because pessimism doesn't feel like a sales pitch. It feels like someone is trying to help you. And that right there is the trap. Setbacks, crashes, recessions. They are sudden, they're dramatic, they make headlines, they happen in an instant. But growth is slow. It's quiet. It's driven by compounding over years and decades. It's a much harder story to see, which makes long-term optimism a much harder mindset to hold on to. So this brings us to our final and maybe most important point. The single most powerful force in your financial life isn't interest rates. It's not stock prices. It's the story you tell yourself. Imagine for a second an alien is sent to study our economy. It just hovers there, observing from 2007 to 2009.
It sees the same factories, the same technology, the same collective human knowledge. From a physical standpoint, nothing of value was actually destroyed. And yet, our entire economy fell apart. That alien would be totally baffled. The only thing that really changed was the collective story we told ourselves about the economy. We went from a story of confidence about the future to a story of pure terror. That was it. The narrative shifted, and the global economy broke. And this just highlights a fundamental truth about us. None of us has a complete view of the world. Remember, our personal experience is just that tiny, tiny sliver. But to get through the day, our brains create a complete, cohesive story to fill in all the gaps. We literally can't function without these narratives. And so, that leaves us with the most important question you can ask yourself. It isn't about picking the right stock or finding the perfect formula. It's about understanding your own mind. So what is the story you tell yourself about money? Because whatever that narrative is, it's shaping every single financial decision you make.